Hi everyone, I'm Jane Trotter and welcome to Accelerando Piano. Today I'm really excited to share with you an excellent pedal exercise that will have you pedaling with ease and confidence in no time. We're going to learn about the sustaining pedal and how to use it for legato pedaling. And I'll be showing you this via my ta-da! Pedal cam. You can see my feet working as we go through the exercises. And you'll be able to see me in the screen up above as well. So stay tuned. We'll be covering 4 main areas today. The first is how you want to have your foot on the sustaining pedal and the best way to use it. Secondly, I'll take you through that groovy little pedal exercise, and that's an exercise for legato pedaling. I've got some resources for that, which you can download from my Accelerando Piano website, and you'll be seeing some of those through the video as we go, and you've just seen them up on the screen now. Thirdly, I'll show you what the pedal markings actually look like on the score. And finally, we'll talk about why we actually want to use the pedal. When do we use it? And what its basic functions are. So, lots to do. Let's get started. Welcome to my pedal cam. You'll be able to see super clearly what my feet are doing. Now, you'll have spotted I'm just wearing socks. And for this demonstration, I've chosen to do that so you can see what's happening more clearly. You'll probably find it more comfortable pedaling in shoes, but for today, you've got me and my cat socks. So, let's get started. You want to have the ball of your foot on the main area of the pedal here. You don't want your toes to be way up here, touching the piano. And likewise, you don't want to be so far off that your toes are just on the pedal and they're sort of having to grip wildly to play it. That's going to be uncomfortable. So your best position is with the ball of your foot on that main wide part of the pedal. If you can have your foot pretty much straight and aligned with your leg, that's ideal. You don't want to have your foot off like that, I'm exaggerating wildly, or like that. You can see those are really misaligned. So, nice and straight. Now, my heel is in contact with the floor. That's what you want. When you are pedaling, you want to have your heel in contact the whole time. You don't want to be doing something like this and doing a seesaw effect. Okay, no good. Likewise, when you're pedaling, you might have your heel on the ground and the ball of your foot on the pedal, but look at my toes. They are not comfortable. They are sticking right up in the air. You don't want that either. So try and keep your toes relaxed, and you're just moving from your ankle joint up and down. I'm not moving from my hip joint. This is what it's going to look like if I move from my hip joint. No good. Everything comes off the ground, and you're going to get really tired as well. So the movement comes from your ankle joint. Okay, next thing to think of is how close or far away you are sitting. Now you can see here, and I'll just turn this off, that I've got a nice angle with my leg here. It gives me plenty of space to pedal comfortably. If I sit too close, and I'll show you this, now my leg is almost straight, and it's very difficult, it's really difficult for me to get my foot up. And again, that's going to be very sore on your shin. So you don't want to sit so close that that's going to happen. So I'm going to shift back a little bit so I'm more comfortable. That's about the angle you want. Now, notice as I've been pedaling, I've kept my foot in contact with the pedal. I haven't been doing that. Lifting my foot off immediately and letting the pedal just come right up. You can hear that's kind of clunky. You don't want that. Likewise, if you were wearing shoes, I'll try and do it. You might hear a bit of a tap, tap, tap with my foot coming off. That's also going to create noise that you don't want. So ideally, you want to have your foot in contact with the pedal the whole time, and you're just feeling that come up and come down. That way you can control the speed up of the pedal. You don't let it clunk suddenly like that. So those are the main things to think of. I know there's a lot there, so feel free to pause and rewind and check things over if you need to. Before we begin our legato pedaling exercise, I just wanted to show you the resource page which I've got for this tutorial, which you can download from my Accelerando Piano website. And here it is. You can see it's got all the steps and stages, when to play the note, when to put the pedal down, when to lift the pedal, all the coordination, all the important things that you need to know. I've got a second page as well, and this outlines what the actual exercise would look like on the score. So feel free to download that from the website. You can use that as a guide and use it anytime at home, whenever you want. For our legato pedaling exercise, we're going to start out by playing a C major scale, but we're not going to do it the usual way. If I do it the usual way, I can keep that nice and smooth with my fingering. What we're going to do is play that C scale just using our third finger for every note. Now there is no way I can get that scale smooth by doing that fingering. I'm going to have to use the pedal. So this is where our pedaling exercise comes in. So let's do our legato exercise with our C major scale, just using your third finger. Now, we'll get ourselves lined up on the pedal, and the sustaining pedal is the one on the far right. And that's the one you would have seen me using when we did that little exercise before of how to have your foot on the pedal and how to use it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a series of actions to a 3-beat pattern. I'll take you through it first so you can see how it all works, and then we'll go through in more depth after that. So, beat 1, play the note. Pedal down, beat 2, move on beat 3, and then beat 1 again, play the new note and lift the pedal. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now the tricky bit is coordinating when your finger goes down and when the pedal comes up. That's what was happening on beat 1. What you want to watch out for, and I'll do the exercise again, is that when the note is fully down, the pedal is fully up. Think of them meeting in the middle. So I'll do that again and keep an eye out for the coordination of my finger going down and my foot coming up on beat 1. So here we go. So I start off 1, 2, 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Up, down, move. 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 Up, down. So that's the really important thing with legato pedaling. When you play your new note, the pedal is up and then it comes down after. And it's slightly counterintuitive because most people think, oh, I'm going to play my new note, I'm going to put the pedal down. Hey! But no, it's not. When you play your new note in legato pedaling, your foot, your pedal, is up. So I'll show you that one more time. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Foot up, note down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. What you can try once you get really familiar and comfortable with that is you can start to put the pedal down a little sooner. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you could try this. 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3. Now I'll show you a couple of things you don't want to be doing. If you find there's a break in the sound, you're lifting your foot too soon. So I'll show you what I mean. 1, 2, 3. Whoop, there's going to be a massive gap there. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. I've moved, but my foot is now up before I've put my note down. And you can hear there's a gap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And if you want to keep your sound continuous, you don't want to have that gap. So you're lifting your foot too soon. On the flip side, if the notes start to sound a bit smudgy and a bit blurry, you're not lifting at the right time. You're holding it down too long. So it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3. Instead of lifting my foot, I'm still holding it down. And you get that overlap of sound. 1, 2, 3. I haven't lifted. And you get that blurring effect. There's a neat saying, I don't know who said it, but it's great. You pedal with your ear, not your foot. But of course you do pedal with your foot. But by pedaling with your ear, you are having to listen. Okay, so if there's a break in the sound or if the sound's getting smudgy, you know some of that coordination isn't quite right. So, the two most important things. Number 1, your foot is up when you play the new note. And number 2, pedal with your ear. Here are some ways you'll see the pedal notated on the score. This first example is what I showed you earlier in our little legato pedaling exercise. And it has what I like to call the mountain peaks. So we can see the pedal lifting and then going down again. But it's not always notated that way. Sometimes you'll see con ped at the start. And that means that you are going to use pedal in the piece, but it's not prescribed perhaps as much as in the first example. More is left up to your discretion. But the composer is saying, yes, we definitely want pedal. The third example here starts out like the first one, but stops and replaces it with the word simile. And sometimes it's abbreviated to just sim. And that means keep pedaling in the same way that we've shown you. You're going to keep pedaling like that through the rest of the piece. In this next example, you can see I just want the chords to be pedaled. So there's no pedal markings on the bars that have the quavers. So it will sound like this. So that pedal is really just blocking out those particular bars. Next example, We saw this little marking here earlier on. That means to put the pedal down. And its corresponding lift the pedal is the little asterisk. And you're probably more likely to come across markings like that in older scores. I don't find it as often in the more modern scores now, but it's important to know what it's all about and what it means. So what I've done in these two bars here is I've done the ped with a little asterisk, and I've shown you its corresponding marking with the lines, if you like. So you put the pedal down and then lift there. This next bar, you would hold the pedal right through. And here's what it looks like with our lines, like that. And the final example shows you what that ped and asterisk marking might look like as it corresponds to the markings on the second half of that example where we're holding the pedal throughout the bar. I've been super precise with the asterisks. I've put it there because, as we know, when we play our new note, the pedal is up, and then we put it down again after. Sometimes on the music you might see that asterisk a bit earlier. You might see it there, for example, at the end of the bar or on the note. Use your discretion, use your ear, and use your common sense. If lifting early breaks the sound and you want a more continuous sound, then don't do it. Change your pedal on the start of the note. If that's what you want, do that. Just be aware, sometimes the asterisk marking can be in a slightly confusing place. So why do we use the pedal? When do we use it? What are its basic functions? The pedal is a vital and integral part of the instrument. It helps add colour and character and emotion. It makes the sound fuller and richer. It broadens the whole soundscape of the instrument. So let's have a look at the first instance where you might want to use the pedal for sound enrichment. I'm going to play a chord sequence first without the pedal and then with it, so you can hear the difference. And now with the pedal. And you can hear that's got a much fuller, richer sound. What's actually happening inside the piano when we use a pedal like that, so there are dampers resting on the strings. And when the pedal is up, the dampers are on the strings. When you push the pedal down, those dampers come off the strings and allows them to vibrate in sympathy. And that gives you that much richer, bigger sound. When you return the pedal to the top, the dampers come back and stop the sound. So that's the first thing for sound enrichment. The second reason we'd want to use the pedal is when we can't physically join the notes ourselves to make them sound smooth. So probably the best example is if I've got a chord in the bass and then I want some chords higher up. There's no way I'm going to get that smooth. So I have to use the pedal. The added bonus that it sounds fuller and richer as well, but basically the primary function there is to join that sound with that sound. So that's the second one. The third example of when you might want to use the pedal is if you want to layer the sounds. So I might play a chord in the bass and hold the pedal through and add chords on top. So I might do something like this. And you can hear that full, rich sound right across the breadth of the instrument. And thinking about those dampers, when I lift the pedal, the dampers return to the strings and stop the sound. You might also want to use it with an arpeggio type pattern or a section of a piece where it's very ripply and flowing and you want to highlight that with a pedal. Good example, the end of Christopher Norton's Spring Song, which sounds really lovely. You can hear that lovely build up and wash of sound. And I also use it in The Beautiful Butterfly, which is from my garden party book. And I actually use this piece to help teach people how to use the pedal. So I wanted that lovely wash of sound. There you have it. That's our legato pedaling exercise. I hope this tutorial has made learning how to use the pedal a little bit easier. Remember, you can always download the resources which I've made for this tutorial from my Accelerando Piano website. Dip into those, use them as a guide, and work with them anytime you like at home. Using the pedal takes a little bit of practice. The coordination can be tricky, but do persevere because you'll absolutely love using the pedal in your pieces. It's fantastic. It sounds so rich and so wonderful. The two takeaways. You've probably heard me say this 3,000 times already, but just to elaborate even more, when you play your new note, your foot is up and it goes down after. And the second thing, you pedal with your ear. So listen, listen, listen.